Hello everyone. In today's task, I want to do a very simple concept of importing CSV files into Microsoft Access database. So I have a number of CSV files that I can work with, but I'll just import these two files, the apprentices and framework. I hope you'll be able to follow through. So I'll just open the apprentices file to see how it's looking like. So this is what my apprentices file look like. So these are the fields that I have: vacancy ID, employee name, subject ref, up to day release. So I'm just going to close it again. Then framework, also going to import that. So this one has got just a few files, a few fields: subject name, subject ID, frame developer, and sector area. So those are the two files I'm going to close. So one thing to take note is the files, they don't need to be open. Otherwise, if they are open, then an error will be displayed whilst you are running the wizard. So the two files that I'm going to work with, they have to be closed. So I've closed the files. So for me to start now, I'm just going to right click here, click on new. Then I choose Microsoft Access database. So that's the database that I'm going to use. So I can just give it any name that I want. So I can just say, just call it import practice. So that's the name of the database. Press enter. So I'm going to double click on my database to start the database file. So my database is open. So I'm going to enable content. So the first step of importing, you just need to go to external data. So whilst on external data, you choose text file. So from text file, so we are importing CSV files, that's why we are choosing text file. So there are so many options that you can use. So I'm going to import from a CSV file. So I'm just going to external data, then choose text file. Then I'm presented with this dialog. So here I'm just going to browse through to find where my database is. So mine is currently on desktop. On this folder, in this folder. So these are the two that I want to import. So I'm going to start with this one, then click on open. Then that will be that. So that's my file, apprentices.csv. Then click OK. So this one I'm just going to click on open. Then the wizard will start. So since we are importing CSV files, so they are comma separated files, so use delimited. So click on delimited. So that's the option that is selected by default. Click on next. Then this one is a crucial stage. You should make sure that you always choose first row contains field names. Otherwise, if you don't do that, your field names will simply be field 1, field 2, field 3. And the headings, the field names will also be included as part of data, which will be wrong. So always make sure you select first row contains field names, then you click on next. So at this point, you're supposed to give appropriate data types to your fields. So I'm going to be selecting one at a time. So the first one is vacancy. It's given short text by default, so it's fine. Vacancy ID. This one should be short text as well, because it's consisting of alphabetic characters and numbers. Someone is tempted to think that this is an integer or a numeric value, but that's not it. Once you have a mixture of both numbers and alphabetic characters, then it means This one is a short text, level short text. I'll do this quickly for the other fields. Employer name, that's short text. Subject ref, long integer, or you could just choose it as integer. Then learning provider, short text. Then number, this one I'll just choose it as integer. Then closing date, so choose date with time. Then wage, I should make sure that this is currency, because that has to be monetary value. Then the other field, the last one, day release, I'll just make sure that it's yes or no. I want it to be boolean, so that since we have got two values, one will be representing a yes and the other representing a no. I'm going to click on next. At this point, I will do either of the last two options, choose my own primary key or no primary key. But for this, in this case, I'll just choose my own primary key because I have got this unique field that I can use, which is vacancy ID. Then click on next. Then I can give a name to my table. So apprentices table. Then I'm just going to click on finish. Then click on close. So as I have imported this table, it has given me some import errors. So when import errors appears, you just need to do one thing. Click on import errors, then select where the import errors are coming from. So this table guides you where the import errors are coming from. So my import errors are coming from this table, which is called which is apprentices, the one that I've created, and the field that is giving me the error is called the closing date. So once I've found that, I'm just going to close this. I'm going to delete the import errors. And also one other thing to take note, if you just open this table, so closing date is the one that is giving me errors. So you can see, and some fields, some values could not be imported in this table. So not this closing date is having some values, but not all values. I'm going to close it again. Then I'm going to delete it so that I can start the wizard again. So I'm going to do this a bit faster. Text file, browse, apprentices, open, then okay, delimited, next, then my first row contains field names, next, then my data types, short text, that one. The next one, subject ref, same, this should be integer. Then this one, short text, is fine. This one, number, I'll put it as integer. The long integer will give so much space, and it's unnecessary. Date with time. So this is the field that is giving me import errors, so you should always take note of that. So closing date is giving me import errors. So what you need to do now is, when you face import errors, you have whilst at this stage, select the field. Yes, it's using date with time, but there's one other thing that you need to do. You need to come here and click on advanced. Whilst you're on advanced, you can put this dialog next so that you can see your data behind. So what is giving errors is the format of the date. So currently this format that is in my database is showing these it's date, month, then year. But here is kind of the opposite. It's saying month, day, year. So that's where the errors are coming from. So I need to select here and choose the format that tallies with what I have in my database. So in my database, I'm having a day, month, year. So I have to choose day, month, year, and also take note of this field, my date part my year part of the date is showing 4 digits, so I should make sure that I tick there. If it's 2, I untick here. So I click on OK. This time everything should work right. Move on to the other field here. Wage, I'll just choose it, currency, day release. Some of these you can even do them after importing, then it won't be a challenge. So this one, I'll put it to yes, no, the day release. So click on next, then choose my own primary key. This one, vacancy ID, is my primary key, which is a unique field which identifies the records in my database. Click on next, apprentices, I call it apprentices table. Then I'm going to click on finish, close. So this time it's done, no import errors whatsoever, and all my closing dates have been imported because I have used the correct format. So one thing to just take note is the day release here. So I've chosen Boolean, but it's still showing negative and 0. So I have to go back to my design. So to go to the design view of a table, just right click, go to design view, then look at that field that you want to deal with, yes, no, which is day release. So go on format here, then you have to choose yes, no. Then after that you just save, then you can close the design view, open your table again. You now have your table like this. So my table is now perfect, my table without any import errors. So this task has been there to show us how we can import a table and also how we can resolve import errors. So in my next table, I'll also import, in my next task, I'll also import another table and also start to do some queries and reports. Thank you so much. We'll meet in the next video. Thank you.